My boss took everything when he fired me. And he did it in front of the people who had been waiting for it. What would you do if your career ended with one sentence spoken where no one could pretend they didn't hear it? I was still explaining the last compliance checkpoint when Daniel Cross lifted a finger. Not a hand, just one finger. That's enough. The room went still. Human resources, he added, already leaning back. The woman beside him opened a folder. Meredith Hale. Effective immediately. Your employment is terminated due to procedural failures and misrepresentation of compliance status. That isn't accurate. The words came out before I could stop them. Every milestone was approved. Daniel's mouth curved slightly. Not a smile. Something rehearsed. We're not revisiting decisions, he said. We're moving forward. Around the table, eyes dropped. Someone shifted in their chair. No one spoke. The word landed like a switch being flipped. My screen went black. That access has been revoked. HR continued, reading now. Voice smoother. You'll be required to return all company property. Daniel stood and reached for my badge. He didn't wait for me to unclip it. The plastic snapped softly as he pulled it free. Everything you have here is mine, he said, holding it up for a moment, except that laptop. He nodded toward my computer as if it were a forgotten coat. I don't need it, he added. Security will walk you out. I closed the laptop slowly. No one stopped me. No one asked a question. As I stood, Daniel was already turning back to the table. Let's continue. I took 2 steps toward the door when the screen flickered once. One email, no greeting, no signature. Per contract, who is the authorized party now? I kept walking. The story you are about to hear is a fictional work created by the writing team at Revengeaita. The characters and events are imagined, but the power dynamics, the silence, and the consequences are painfully real. Each story we tell carries a different truth. This one begins with a dismissal and a mistake that no one in that room realized had just been made. The door closed behind me. My badge was gone. My name was already being rewritten. All I had left was the laptop Daniel Cross did not want and whatever it was about to reveal. What do you notice when the noise finally stops and you're left alone with the truth? The apartment was quiet enough that my phone buzzing sounded intrusive. I set the laptop on the table and opened it without ceremony. No passwords broken, no systems touched, just my own files, saved emails, calendar invites, meeting recaps I'd forwarded to myself for years, because Daniel liked to clean up records after the fact. I opened the contract folder first. The license agreement sat exactly where I remembered it. Third-party compliance. My name appeared once, then again, then in bold on the final page. Authorized signatory Meredith Hale. I stared at it longer than I meant to. Termination date meant nothing here. There was a clause beneath it, short, precise. Transfer of authority required written reassignment, countersigned by both parties, no reassignment, no counter-signature. A knock of panic moved through my chest. My phone buzzed again. Lena. They're asking me to get your approval. I don't know what to do. Lena was 26. Brilliant, terrified of making the wrong move. I typed, deleted, then typed again. Me. Who's asking? The reply came fast. Lena. The vendor. They won't release the update without the signatory confirmation. Daniel told me to handle it. I closed my eyes. Daniel always told someone else to handle it. I called her. I didn't know they'd still use your name, she said, breathless. I swear. HR said you were. Stop. I said, listen carefully. Silence on the line. She was listening now. You're not to send anything, I went on. No approvals, no signatures, not even a draft. But he'll ask me why. Then you tell him the truth. Another pause. Which is? That authority didn't move with the badge, she swallowed. I heard it. Meredith, she said quietly. What happens now? I looked back at the screen, at my name, still where it had always been. Nothing, I said, unless someone tries to pretend it already did. When the call ended, the room felt smaller, not safer, clearer. Daniel Cross had pushed me out fast, too fast, as if time itself were a liability. I closed the laptop and left it on the table, exactly where it belonged. When everyone tells you to fight, how do you know when not to? The lawyer read the termination notice twice. then set it down with a sound that meant she'd already decided. This is a clean case, she said. Wrongful termination, defamation implied. We file immediately. Her name was Rachel Moreno. Downtown office, calm voice, sharp eyes. She spoke the way people do when they believe momentum is on their side. I don't want to file. I said. She looked up. Not surprised, curious. You've been publicly accused of misconduct. I know. They locked you out mid-meeting. I was there. Rachel leaned back. Then help me understand why you're hesitating. I slid my phone across the table and turned the screen toward her. The message from Lena was still there. The subject line from the vendor sat beneath it. Rachel read, then frowned. Authorized signatory. My name, I said, still my name. That doesn't stop a lawsuit. It does if the story changes before the paperwork lands. She waited. There's a non-disclosure clause, I continued. Broad enough to choke a career. If I sue now, he controls the narrative. I become the employee who couldn't follow process, the one who had to be escorted out. Rachel's fingers tapped once on the table. And if you don't, he rushes, I said. He signs. Signs? What responsibility? She studied me for a long moment. You're asking me to do nothing. I'm asking you to let him think I've folded. That's risky. So is a public fight I can't afford to lose. Rachel exhaled slowly. Blacklisting quietly. I said, no calls returned, no contracts, no reasons given. She nodded. She'd seen it before. If I sue now, I lose. I said. I need him to sign first. Rachel closed the folder. Then we wait. For how long? Until he makes a move he can't take back. I stood, shouldering my bag. At the door, she added. When that happens, call me, don't email. I stepped outside with my phone already buzzing. A new message from Daniel. Sign the handover. Let's end this cleanly. I put the phone away and kept walking. What hurts more, being fired or being rewritten? The email reached me before Lena did. Company-wide, Daniel's name at the top. Polite subject line, neutral tone. Recent project delays stemmed from internal process failures that leadership has now addressed. Addressed, past tense, clean. My phone rang a minute later. They sent it to everyone, Lena said. She didn't bother pretending she was calm. They're saying you missed approvals. That you, I know. I said, I've read it. They're asking me questions, not directly, just comments. Like they already decided who's asking Daniel. And Mark from operations. A pause. They want me to confirm the timeline. They want me to say you were behind. And what did you say that I needed to check my notes? That was the right answer. Her voice dropped. He told me this was my chance to step up. There it was. The offer wrapped in pressure. They're not asking you to tell the truth, I said. They're asking you to repeat what they already wrote. Silence. Then, if I don't, then they'll say, you're not ready. She let out a short breath. I didn't think it would be like this. Neither did I. After we hung up, more messages came through, not questions, absences, conversations that stopped mid-thread. A calendar invite I had always been on removed without comment. By evening, Daniel messaged me directly, sign the handover, then we can all move on. I stared at the words longer than I should have. There was no apology, no acknowledgement, just an instruction, phrased like a favor. I typed once, deleted it, typed again, send the document. The reply came almost immediately. Attached, please confirm by end of day. The file name was precise, neutral, final. I opened it and read every line, twice. My name appeared only once now. Not as owner, not as lead, as the last obstacle. I closed the document without signing and set the phone face down. By the time the city went quiet, the story without me was already circulating. And tomorrow, Daniel expected my signature to make it official. What kind of surrender scares the other side the most? Daniel didn't invite me to sit. The conference room camera light was already on when I joined the call. His face filled the screen, composed, pleased with itself. Legal sat off to the side, muted. Human resources watched without blinking. The document is standard, Daniel began. Control transfers immediately. We close this today. I read it, I said. He nodded, like a man humoring a delay. Good. Then we're aligned. I scrolled to the middle. Read this section out loud. A pause? Which section? The one that starts with assumption of responsibility. Daniel waved it off. That's boilerplate. It isn't, I said. Please read it. He smiled again, smaller this time. We don't need to perform. Legal shifted in their chair, still muted. I continued. Transfer of control. Transfer of delivery obligations. Transfer of compliance liability. End to end. Daniel leaned closer to the camera. You're done here, Meredith. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm not, I said. I'm making it accurate. He exhaled, impatient. Sign it. I signed. My name appeared once. Clean and final. Daniel didn't hesitate. His signature landed seconds later. He didn't scroll, didn't ask legal to confirm. He glanced up with a look I recognized the relief of someone who believed the risk had passed. There, he said. You just signed away your career. No one corrected him. The call ended without ceremony. No goodbye, no follow-up. My phone buzzed almost immediately. Daniel. We're done. Don't contact the team again. I didn't reply. A minute later, another message arrived, not from him. Lena. He's asking for the release approval, right now. I set the phone down and opened the signed document once more. The language hadn't changed, control transferred, responsibility transferred. Every deliverable, every obligation, every consequence now had a single owner, not me. I closed the file and shut the laptop. The silence felt different this time, not empty. Counted. What happens when a project keeps moving, but the approval doesn't? The first message came from someone I didn't recognize. Vendor compliance. We are pausing release pending authorized confirmation. I read it twice, then set the phone down. 5 minutes later, Lena called. They froze the deliverables, she said. Everything. The update, the handoff, all of it. Did they say why? They said the authorization didn't clear. I heard voices behind her. Tight, urgent. Daniel told them to proceed anyway, she added. They said they can't. That's accurate, I said. They're not allowed to. A beat. He's furious. I know. Another call cut in before she could say more. This one from Evan Price, the account manager at the partner firm. We had worked together for 2 years. He didn't waste words. We're holding payment, he said. No approval, no release. Understood. Your name is still listed, he went on. We flagged it last night. I'm aware. Silence. He was weighing something. Has the authority changed? No, I said. Not formally. Then we wait. When the call ended. My inbox filled with alerts. Status changed. Timeline shifted. Red where there had been green. Lena texted again. Lena. They're asking why you haven't signed off, I typed slowly. Me, because I'm no longer responsible. She didn't respond right away. When she did, it was only one line. Lena. He's telling legal, this is your fault. I closed my eyes. A few minutes later, my phone rang again. Daniel's number, I let it ring. A voicemail followed. Meredith, his voice snapped. This is getting out of hand. Sign the release and stop playing games. I didn't call back. Another message arrived, this time from legal. Legal. We are reviewing the authorization gap. Please stand by. Stand by. The system hadn't stopped. It had slowed, tightened, and begun asking for names. I set the phone face down and waited. How many warnings does it take before pride becomes evidence? Legal reached out before Daniel did. We need to talk. The message read, no greeting, no signature. The call connected with 3 faces on the screen. 2 attorneys, 1 compliance officer I recognized but had never spoken to directly. The partner has requested an external audit, one of them began. Standard procedure when authorization gaps appear. Daniel cut in immediately. We don't have time for that. Silence followed, not agreement, measurement. The deadline is fixed, he continued. The board is already asking questions. An audit delays everything. The compliance officer leaned forward. An audit protects the company. Daniel smiled tightly. I built this project. I know what's in it. One of the attorneys tried again. Daniel, this is a recommendation. Declining it increases risk, then we accept the risk. He said, send me whatever I need to sign. No one spoke for a moment. "We need that in writing," the attorney said at last. "Fine." A document appeared in the chat. Short, direct, the kind designed to be ignored. Daniel didn't read it. He never did when he thought speed was strength. He signed. The compliance officer cleared her throat. "For the record, this confirms you are declining independent review against counsel's advice." "Noted," Daniel replied. "Now let's move forward." The attorney nodded once. "We'll document that." The call ended. My phone buzzed seconds later. A message from legal. "Legal. The waiver is executed." I didn't reply. Another message followed, this one from Lena. "Lena. He told everyone this is almost resolved." I looked at the screen and imagined Daniel's confidence, the way he liked to close doors with his back straight and his voice steady. He thought the delay was a nuisance, a technicality, something to muscle through. He didn't realize the door had already closed, and this time, it had locked from the inside. Have you ever watched someone realize too late that the rules still apply to them? The meeting invite landed without explanation. Mandatory, immediate. When the call opened, the screen filled fast. Daniel. 2 members of leadership, legal, and a new square I didn't recognize. Thomas Reed, outside counsel for the partner firm. He didn't smile. "We'll begin." Thomas said, no preamble. "This is a notice of material breach." Legal stiffened. Daniel leaned back, arms crossed. Thomas continued. "Unauthorized release attempts. Failure to provide valid signatory approval. Non-compliance with contractual safeguards." Daniel cut in. "We've already addressed the authorization. You addressed control." Thomas replied, "Not authority." He shared his screen. A document appeared, dates, clauses, a highlighted line. "Per agreement," Thomas went on. "Any release without authorized confirmation constitutes breach. Penalties accrue daily until remediation." One of the executives cleared his throat. "What penalties?" Thomas didn't hesitate. "Suspension of payment, recovery of advance funds, liquidated damages in the amount of $250,000. Potential termination for cause." The room went quiet. Legal spoke carefully. "We declined an audit." Thomas nodded. "We saw the waiver." Daniel leaned forward now. "This is exaggerated. We can resolve it." Legal turned toward him, voice lowered. "Daniel." He looked at them, annoyed. "You personally assumed this liability." The words landed differently than everything before them. Daniel blinked. "What?" Legal didn't repeat it. They didn't need to. They pulled up the handover document, his signature, the clause beneath it. Assumption of responsibility. End to end. Thomas closed the file. "Our position is clear." Leadership exchanged looks. No one defended Daniel. He opened his mouth, then closed it. The confidence drained in stages. First the smile, then the posture. Finally, the certainty. For the first time since this began, Daniel looked at me. Not angry, not dismissive, measured. The call ended without ceremony. No shouting, no accusations, just outcomes. When the screen went dark, my phone buzzed once. "Legal. We'll take it from here." I set the phone down and let the silence do its work. What does winning look like when no one is clapping? The first confirmation came from legal. Daniel Cross has been removed from the project. The message read, no explanation, no apology, just a fact. An hour later. Lena called. "They pulled his access," she said. Her voice carried something new. Relief edged with disbelief. "He didn't even say goodbye." "Who's leading now?" "Interim committee. They told us not to discuss it. That means they're discussing it," I said. She let out a small laugh, then stopped herself. I didn't think this would actually happen. Neither did he. The next call came from a number I recognized. "Meredith," Evan said. "I'll keep this short." "I appreciate that. Our position hasn't changed," he continued. "We need someone who understands the compliance structure and can sign without delays. And the board asked me to reach out directly. Are you available to consult independently?" I didn't answer right away. "I'm not asking for an answer today," Evan added. "But we're moving forward, with or without your former company." When the call ended, I sat with the phone in my hand longer than necessary. Another message came in, this time from legal. "Legal. The internal review is ongoing. You're not implicated, as if that had ever been in doubt. By evening, the noise I had lived inside for months finally receded. No urgent messages, no warnings, no instructions disguised as favors. I opened the laptop and reviewed the consulting agreement Evan had sent. My name appeared where it should. Authority defined, scope clear, no rush, no pressure. Lena texted one last time before midnight. Lena, I told them you taught me everything that matters. I typed back a single line, me. Then remember it. I closed the laptop without signing. Tomorrow would be soon enough. What if the real victory isn't revenge, but walking away clean? The contract arrived just after 9 in the morning. No cover letter, no pressure. Just a clean document and a single line from Evan. Take your time. This is written the way it should have been the first time. I opened it slowly. My name sat at the top. Unambiguous. Not buried, not conditional. Authorized party Meredith Hale. Scope defined. Liability assigned clearly. Exit terms written in plain language, not traps. I read every line, then read it again. My phone buzzed once. Everything looks good on our end. Evan said when I answered. If you're ready, I am. I said. There was a pause. Then a quiet acknowledgement. Welcome aboard. I signed. The confirmation email followed within minutes. Authorization confirmed. That was it. No applause, no announcement, no final meeting where someone pretended this had all been handled gracefully. Later that afternoon, Lena texted. They told us not to contact you anymore, she wrote. So I guess this is me not contacting you. I smiled. You'll do fine. What about him, she asked. I don't manage that anymore. Daniel Cross took everything he asked for. The project, the authority, the responsibility that came with both. The investigation would finish without my input. The outcome would land where it belonged. I closed the laptop and left it on the table. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the urge to check one more message or anticipate the next demand. I walked out into a future that did not require my silence or my erasure. Power doesn't belong to the loudest voice in the room. It belongs to the person who understands the rules, protects their name, and knows when to let others carry the weight of what they insisted on taking.